Joins me now, Congressman Krishnamoorthi of Illinois. Congressman, thanks for being back on the show.
Sure thing, Hallie.
I want to talk to you about Iran and what Secretary Mike Pompeo had to say just this morning. But let me start where Bob Costa left off a moment ago on impeachment and on former National Security Advisor John Bolton. He says he will testify if the Senate subpoenas him. On your side, the House side, will or should the House now issue a subpoena for him?
This is something that I think the House proceedings, technically the investigation's open, but I'm not aware of any plan to call further witnesses right now, and I'm not really sure I want to speculate about it. The one thing I can say is that, Mr. Bolton is a central figure in the scandal with regard to the Ukraine situation. Fiona Hill said that he described conditioning military aid on announcing a political investigation of Joe Biden as an illicit drug deal. That's how he viewed the situation. I think that he should testify in the Senate if he's allowed to do so and if he's subpoenaed, certainly.
You make the point that the investigation on your side of things is technically still open, and I get that you don't want to speculate about what might happen, so let me phrase it to you a different way. Do you want, as a member of Congress who sits on these two committees, for example, the House Intel Committee, would you want them to subpoena John Bolton now and put an end, essentially, to this Republican, what's become talking point, that if the House wanted to hear from Bolton, they should have subpoenaed him?
So, as you know, we were about to do so. We did so with Kupperman, and basically Bolton made the noise that he was going to litigate it in court. And I think litigate it in court doesn't make a lot of sense, especially when he said that he's willing to testify in the Senate forum. And so that's why I think that at this point, proceeding with the trial and having him testify there makes all the sense in the world.
Okay. Let me ask you about Iran. I know that tomorrow you will be among those who are able to attend a briefing from key administration officials regarding the intelligence behind what led to the strike on Qasem Soleimani. You heard Secretary of State Mike Pompeo just this morning come out and not shed more light on what that intelligence may be. National Security Advisor Robert O'Brien, I should say, said that essentially it was an attack or threats against diplomats in facilities around the world, presumably. Is what you have heard so far enough for you to be able to support that strike on Soleimani? What else do you need to hear?
I need to hear a lot more details. We need to know whether that threat would be carried out regardless of the existence of Soleimani, whether it would be worse now that he's been killed. And, of course, is this going to lead to war? I think the whole concern that my constituents, by the way, they're overwhelmingly against what happened the other day, and we're getting calls and emails and constituent communication pouring in right now. Basically, their concern is that we're going to blunder ourselves into war. We cannot have a war in Iran, and we cannot have another endless war in the Middle East.
One of your Democratic colleagues, Congressman Ro Khanna, told me on this show 24 hours ago that he believes that if the president were to take further action against Iran without congressional approval, it could potentially be an impeachable offense. Do you agree?
I'm not sure. I haven't seen the intelligence that they say, basically led to his killing. I'd like to see that further. I'd like to learn more from the briefing tomorrow, and we're going to get hopefully more information going forward. But the fact that they didn't come to us before the strike raises suspicions that perhaps that intelligence isn't as specific, detailed, or credible as they might otherwise have us believe.
Congressman, very quickly, because I'm out of time, but before I let you go, do you expect the vote on the War Powers Resolution this week to be bipartisan?
I hope so. I do think that the Democrats are unified. I think some Republicans will join us.
Congressman Krishnamoorthi joining us from the Hill. Congressman, thanks for being with us today. I appreciate your time.